So today I want to be a little bit more philosophical and reflective on eBay reselling or thrift reselling, namely how it changes you or can change you, and it certainly changed me, so that's the perspective I'm coming from. But I'm guessing that others have had the same experience that have been reselling for even a little bit. And if you're thinking about getting into it, you might find this interesting, how your perspective on our values, our culture, how they just might change from doing a little reselling. Before we jump in it, I first off want to thank you for taking a chance on a small channel like me. I know you've got a lot of choices out there in YouTube land, and I'm a tiny fish in this big pond, so thank you for clicking on my video. So let's dive into it. One thing that got driven home to me over time as I was doing eBay reselling is just how false the consumer promise is. Namely that by buying goods, buying stuff, your life will be better, you'll be happier, and you'll be living the best you, whatever that means. But what I found is that you can see that that's not true, because when you're going through thrift stores, when you visit them regularly like I do, you see the brand new clothes, the latest gadgets, like how many Instapots, how many thousands of Instapots are sitting on thrift store shelves right now. Clothes with still tags on them, shoes that are brand new or never have been worn. They're all tossed aside now and donated. And when people bought those, they bought them and thought, wow, this is going to make my life better. But then it didn't matter. They donated them. And so this cycle of buying and discarding just keeps going and keeps going and keeps going. And so you just see the endless stream of things that were once desired but are now just clutter, and that's why they've been donated or maybe even thrown away, because the thrift stores throw many things away. And we just become clear how the promise of buying stuff is a false promise with no lasting rewards. You start to see the absurdity in it, actually, because when we live in this culture and we see the ads, how the fancy ads, the slick marketing, the great packaging, and how everything's going to be great and wonderful and razzle dazzle, but then you walk through the graveyard of the thrift store and you see the other side of it. You see how it doesn't really give you what you want, that the dream is actually broken for most people, that it's not making them happy, that they bought these things. Like, what are these microphones? They're everywhere. Does anybody buy them now? But everybody was buying them at a time because it was going to make their life better, but now they're just donated and discarded. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. Now, the other thing is, at least for me, I became less materialistic, which sounds weird being a reseller because we deal in things and stuff. That's what we deal with. Now, I was never overly materialistic to begin with. I've never driven fancy cars and Toyotas and Hondas, Chevys. A Chevy S10 I had for literally 20 years. So that's been the way I've operated. But even now I start to see stuff as just inventory, just moving it around. One shiny thing comes in that's made out of plastic and textiles and metal to another shiny thing. And it really doesn't mean anything. So the emotional charge of a thing, it starts to fade when you are a reseller, because you deal in so much stuff that you just see that the excitement is gone. Now, the other thing that happens is buying brand new starts to feel dumb, because you know that you can get it cheaper. And I used to be that way. For me, thrift stores were, before I started reselling, they basically had garbage in them, and they were for poor people. Growing up in the 80s, that's the way it was in my community. That's the way it was perceived, at least. That's the message I got. I had no idea until I started this reselling business that there are so many good things in there. I used to always automatically go to Amazon, Target, wherever to buy new, but now that's dumb. Can I get something on eBay? Can I get it in a thrift store for cheaper? And like, for instance, if you are in the market for a crock pot and you buy it new, that's dumb, because there are so many. Or a Ninja blender, or what else? I mean, what else can you buy? I honestly almost had a conversation with the guy the other day. I was in Costco getting food, because you can't buy food used. And I saw that he had a Ninja blender in his shopping cart. And I almost went up to him and I said, look, man, those things are in Goodwill all the time. A fraction of the cost of what you're going to pay for it here, a fraction of the cost. But he didn't look like the kind of person that might not appreciate that, so I didn't. But I felt bad for him because I just knew he was throwing his money away. So you can get this stuff for cheaper other places. I used to spend a ton of money on books, and now you can get books. I get books for $4, $5, $6, $7 on eBay all the time. So it just seems dumb to buy retail now. And then the other thing that happened is you become more of a minimalist. At least I have. And which again sounds weird because you've got all this stuff. And sometimes my office back here gets piled up with stuff, but I always want to get it down and get rid of as much stuff as possible because you're dealing with so much stuff and it just starts to feel oppressive sometimes. When I've got too much inventory, it just feels like a weight on me. And then I feel that weight in my personal life that I've got too much and I need to get rid of it. So I've sold more of my stuff. I buy less. It just fundamentally, those are the things that have happened to me. I've really just seen how our consumer culture is broken and it's just so vivid in the thrift stores and it just drives you in an opposite direction. And maybe it's a little bit rebellious to do all of that, to like not buy into the mainstream marketing as they try to manipulate you. I guess that's kind of a feel good that comes out of it, a little bit punk rock or rebel. But that's what I've got for you. I'd love to hear from you if you felt the same after reselling or how it's changed you, because it's definitely changed me. I'm guessing there's others of you out there that feel the same way. So until next time, happy thrifting.